evening, Keepers of the Cash. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here, and joined as always on a Thursday, we have Digger Jim in the co-host seat. How you doing tonight, Jim?
Good, sir. Very good.
And
I'm not Rob.
Right? And coming in for his second appearance on the 10-1-1, we have John's Comics with Kids with our special No X-Men episode.
I didn't get that note. I didn't get that note.
Yeah, me neither. I want to see some.
What's
X-Men.
going on,
I'm fine
John?
with
How you
that.
doing, sir? I just had to throw you for a loop for a
I got to go, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I'm gonna go out. No, it's the Mutant Mayhem episode of the 10-1-1.
Right?
Nice.
That would have been a good tagline too. The Mutant Mayhem episode. I tease because I know we're going to see plenty of good X-Men comics.
I mean, yeah, it's. I was joking that this is going to be a Make Mine Marvel episode. There's a little bit. I got a couple DC, a couple indie, but it's really going to be packed.
Or just Make Mine Mutants, huh?
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, John, before we say hi to the audience, as I like to do, who are you and what's your channel about for anyone that's catching on the rewind that has never seen you before?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I will definitely say, yeah, I'm a comic book fan, comic book YouTuber, and I do some fun stuff with my girls, my kids. I do fun things, discussing classic stories and things I love. But I'm gonna break form here, as I'm probably gonna do all night long, and I'm gonna say, you know what, people, if you haven't heard of me, click links, whatever. But I've had over the last few months some friends who are veterans who have passed, and some very difficult things going on in and around me. So I'm just gonna say, find a great charity to support veterans. If whatever ones you can find, do that instead. Click those links. Go to the Till Valhalla Project, Mission 22, the Gary Sinise Foundation, Wounded Warriors, whatever one you can find. There are way better links to click than mine in the world. And I'm just going to say, if you spend 10 minutes tonight doing that instead, I will much more appreciate that. And
on that note, we should also shout out X11 Bravo on
yes.
Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
He does incredible work for veterans.
Yes. Talk about a guy behind the scenes, not on camera, not producing content the traditional way, but doing so many valuable things. Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Good start, John. Let's say hello to the audience, shall we? First in, as always, Las Cruces. Good evening, James. Perry Gaming.
Get that guy out of here. Get that guy out of here. No video gamers. What are you, a teenager?
Hulk Collector 82.
It's Kevin. It's Kevin. See, it says Kevin. Just go with Kevin.
Right. Chuck Hensey, who will be coming up on the show as well. Jerry the Jitterbug. Good evening, buddy. Nice to see you. We have Mike from Night Tiger Comics. Good evening,
What's
sir.
up?
Nice to see you. Brother John is here. We have Paul from Section 2015. Thank you for coming over, Paul. Nice to see you, sir.
He had another great episode of Guess That Key last night. It was fantastic.
Oh my God, that was
Tony
so
from
good.
Comiverse. I got to get to stay up later. It's just that getting up at 1:30 in the morning kills me.
It's just such a silly show.
Oh no, but it's so fun.
I'm always at like soccer practice waiting for it to end and just listening to those guys and cracking up.
Nice to see you, Cuppy. Cali Comics, good to see you.
11 X-Men books.
DVH, Dr. Von Hoots, good evening, sir. And oh snap, it's John. The Jackson Roy Kirk. How you doing tonight, Jackson?
Without X-Men.
Right. Bobby De La Gatto's here. Good evening, Bobby. Nice to see you, buddy. And we are we caught up?
Oh, no.
Magic Lasso. Ryan, how you doing tonight, sir?
Yeah. I know how to add. I got that, Matt and Ryan. I got that.
We got CJ here. Trev, the shipping guru. Matt Woods. Nice to see you, buddy.
Another great vet. What's up, Matt?
Yep.
And
Raging
Cajuns Comics. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for stopping in.
What's up, JD?
Perry Comics. Thank you for coming
acceptable. Now you're in the right. See, Perry. Now you got the right.
Perry's on the right account. All right, so
oh Lord,
already a big audience here, mostly probably to bust your balls, John.
Acceptable.
So, I mean, why delay the inevitable, dude? Let's get to the first book and let them get busting.
Let's do it. And I'm going to do an X-Men book right off the bat. This is the earliest issue of X-Men that I own. So I had to. My LCS had this in a collection that they purchased, and I was like, that's a key early issue that I need to get. This is X-Men 14.
Ooh.
Yeah.
This is
That's
the
a
first
key, all
appearance. Yeah, the first appearance of the Sentinels. My favorite X-Men like baddie. I like
Really?
giant purple. I love giant purple robots, man. Come on. It's just I think the concept of a giant purple killing machine is hilarious to me. It's
Are
not
you reading-
Arnold, you know,
Yeah.
a giant robot.
Are you reading the Invincible Iron Man right now?
I'm not, but I did see that there's like an Iron Man Hulkbuster / Sentinel thing.
Yeah, that's what he's like. They taken the Iron Man outfit and stuck it on a giant Sentinel, and he's like, oh no, this isn't gonna happen.
Because it's like the Orcus Project, right? It's like this evil group that's taking over Stark Industries or something.
Well, it's that one mutate. He took over it, and he's just going through everything with with Iron Man. So
Right.
But yeah, the Sentinel is part of it, and he just got his butt kicked by the first one, so he's on the run to figure out how he's going to stop him. So
Right.
but
No,
yeah,
I've seen a couple of covers that were like, whoa, that is cool looking. Do you know who's writing it these days? I have not been keeping up on Iron Man.
No, I can't remember. I
Now,
would have said Jed McKay.
with
that's
that,
not
John,
right.
does that mean you're also a big Bolivar Trask fan too?
Yeah,
I mean, I
Or you
definitely
just
have
like
to.
the robot part.
The Trask family obviously is the like brain behind the creature, but the robots are hilarious to me. I even remember reading. Maybe it was the Lemire run of X-Men where they like captured one of them and reprogrammed it and then like painted like rainbows and hearts and stuff all over it, and it was like their vehicle. They would like the X-Men were like flying on the back of a Sentinel everywhere, and it was like hilarious.
it's
Plus, and you know, you get
Jerry.
the fastball special, right?
Oh, it's Jerry Dugan.
Yeah,
Yes, he's been doing some great stuff because his Marauders was really good when he this era of Marauders.
yeah.
So
yeah.
So Oregon says issue 12 is nice and all, but the thumbnail promised John holding a cat.
That's fair.
Oh, let's see. John
I was-
renamed after the man wolf, or was a man wolf named after you?
See, that's a comic fan right there, a comic
That's
nerd
right.
fan. And yeah, the last episode of the show I was on, I did talk about the man wolf because my dad sadly named me for the Irish whiskey, not the not the man wolf.
Mhm.
But yes, I have the exact same name and spelling as a phenomenally hilarious Spider-Man villain.
We got Chuck Hensey saying huge fan of Nimrod.
Definitely.
All right, so great first book. I mean, X-Men 14. Pretty big
I'm not
one.
doing a ton of like mega keys tonight, but I definitely it's about 50-50 between like dollar bin books and like bangers.
Right.
So I
They don't
started
have
with
to
the
be.
banger.
Yeah, they don't have to be all keys.
No, I don't think so. And the next one is not.
All right, well, let's see her.
Let's see.
So this is I've got a few Daredevil books tonight. This is issue 261 of Daredevil from the Ann Nesenti era.
Yeah, but that's Byrne, right?
No, this is Ann Nesenti is the writer, and it's Ramita Jr.
Wow, that's Romita Jr.
This is Ramita. Yeah, I mean, if you saw faces on
Or
the
he got
inside,
blocky.
Well,
so if you saw faces on the inside, you might be
okay,
like,
yeah, I know it's
that's a
not
Ramita
Byrne.
chin.
I just thought
So-
that was maybe the cover was Byrne, but I guess
Yeah, it does have a less Ramita Jr. style. So this issue is hilarious. I one of the benefits of being on YouTube and doing this silly stuff for a while is I got a chance to interview some fun creators. And one of the interviews I got to do, thanks to the guys at the Comic Core, was I got to interview Chip Zdarsky. And I was doing this interview, and I had gotten all my Daredevil books out for the interview, and I was talking to him, and he just started rambling about the Ann Nesenti run. And he said, there's this great issue of Daredevil where it's like Daredevil's not even in it. It's like basically a Johnny Storm issue. And he talks for about 10 minutes, and then I reach behind me and I pull the issue right out because it was right there behind me.
Nice.
He lost it. He was like, no way. Do you have that book right there? He didn't even know I was going to talk about it. And I like all different eras of Daredevil, but I think Ann Nocenti gets overlooked a lot as
I was
a
just
really
gonna say
great-
probably one of the underlooked gems. Like Mary Wilshire for art in Marvel and Nocenti for writing.
right.
There's a lot of really underlooked creators that were really part of the big building blocks of that company.
Totally. And I think even Louise Simonson often
Yep.
gets overlooked because
Oh,
Walt
yeah.
is so much more of a name, but like Louise and all of that she did for Mutant, editing Uncanny or writing X Factor.
And to some extent, the Severance.
Yeah.
So I think there's lots of great talents that are easy to overlook, like your like Klaus Jansson's and whatever, that
Oh, yeah.
because Frank Miller casts such a big shadow that
One of my
Klaus
favorite
can be
underrated
lost.
artists is Mike Vosberg, who did so much great stuff. Mike Vosberg, Steve Lealoha.
Yes, Steve. Mike Vosberg. I'm trying to remember. That
So
name
did you ever read the original Savage She-Hulk? He's done a lot. Like he did
Oh.
DC, Marvel, so he did the Starfire 8-issue series over at DC,
Okay.
which is one of my favorites. I just sent out an issue 1 to get graded. I love the series that much, 8 issues. But he did most of that Savage She-Hulk run, and it's incredible the work he did on it. Hey, there's I got Ryan supporting me right there.
Yep.
Almighty Isis, yes.
Oh, okay. He did Almighty Isis. Okay.
Yeah, he was one of those journeymen. His work was always solid. The people like him, like Steve Lealoha, like Pat Broderick's artists.
Yes.
Okay. Creators like that. Bill Mantlo, before his accident, when he was writing all those books, his stuff, his whole ROM run is fantastic. From one to the finish, all Bill Mantlo, just incredible.
Sure.
But I digress. Issue number 3, John.
The fun of collecting a run is being able to like blow somebody away when they're like, "You did not just have that book right there. How did you possibly do that?"
Right.
And hello to Freaky Louie in the chat. What's up,
I was just
Louie?
gonna say Louie joined us.
All right. This one is a one of a kind because you won't see it anywhere else. And I just got this done when I was in MegaCon. I brought with me a few sketch blank covers, and I had one worked on while I was there. And this is Batman Black and White issue 1.
Oh, nice.
And I had a few artists like David Nakayama, Jay Lee. Basically what I wanted to do was create a Rogues Gallery cover.
Yeah.
And go around and just spend time meeting great creators and get a chance to kind of really enjoy what they could do with a villain of their choice. And the instructions I wrote on the back is like, hey, pick a villain of your choice and give me a call. There was my cell phone number. Anybody wants to call me, I guess. But so David Nakayama, he picked Joker. Jay Lee picked Poison Ivy. And Sabine Rich picked Catwoman and did absolutely my favorite of the 3, I think.
Yeah.
A really great Sabine Rich Catwoman on the cover there.
So I don't know. So who's your favorite DC villain artist ever? Like, I would have to go, if you're talking villain art, if you want to count Catwoman as a villain, I'd have to say the Jim Balent era was
yeah. I mean, wow. Catwoman artists I love even recently the Art Germ covers he did for Catwoman.
Oh, yeah.
Some of my favorite variants. Wow. I mean, obviously shout out Neil Adams. I mean, the covers he was doing they're still holding up today. I've got his first Silver Age Two-Face, amazing cover.
Yeah.
And obviously all the Ra's al Ghul work he was doing at the time, so amazing.
So much detail in it. Yeah.
I mean,
well, and he's got and just his cover setup was amazing too. Like with the Joker and the cards, that famous one with Batman.
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, that's a tough one to top. And then I'm a big Hush fan. So that whole Jim Lee did so many of the villains in that 12-issue run, and they all look spectacular. He just hit home runs each time he drew one of them.
Well, you don't show a lot of DC. So who's your favorite DC villain of all time then? Well, we got you on it.
it's tricky because I mean the bat villains are I'm going to say they're better than all villains across all media. I think the bat villains are so rich and so interesting.
You would take Calendar Man over Paste Pot Pete?
Correct.
Come on now.
Absolutely. But I know that he gets compared to the Spider-Man Rogues Gallery, and I think the Spider-Man Rogues Gallery, as cool as they are somewhat ridiculous. Like the Rhino, like what is that? Like what is that really? Like what is he dresses as a rhino to rob
the
banks?
Riddler?
Versus, yeah. I mean, the Riddler at least has like, mind games he's trying to play, even if he looks like a ridiculous character. But actually, this does set up my next book because I do think, as much as I love the Batman Rogues Gallery, my favorite villain is Sinestro.
Sinestro.
You know what?
Yeah.
If I had to pick a favorite DC villain, it would probably be Sinestro.
Yay!
It's a good choice.
I think I love a villain who is like sympathetic in some way. And Sinestro was a Green Lantern and he gave it up because he felt betrayed by the hypocrisy. And I think so this, I had to share, this is my other DC book. So we'll just go back to back on that. Like I worked really, this was a big book for me to get this year. And I'm still working on his cover appearance later on. I'll have to get the first cover, which is issue 9. But I love the way he's so rational. He's so logical. He's not insane. He's not out of his mind. He has a rationale, and he's not wrong. I mean, obviously, we're living in an era in the United States where people are so controlled by fear. Right? Fear dominates. It is such an overpowering emotion that you can understand why he believes it to be the real pure cause. Right? So.
It's all those villains you can relate to, right? Like him, Magneto, even Doctor Doom to some extent.
Yes, absolutely.
But and that's the thing about, and people like to hate on that Green Lantern movie. I didn't hate it. I actually had fun with it. There was some silliness to it, and there was some script problems. And you don't make your big villain a cloud. You thought they would learn that from Fantastic Four too, but they didn't.
No, they didn't. Not at all.
But I
enjoyed it.
The strongest things in that movie was Mark Strong.
Yes.
Sinestro.
Yes. Perfect casting.
Like I wanted to see more Mark Strong as Sinestro really bad. He looked so good in that role, and he's such a good actor.
Yes.
They need to bring the Legion of Doom on. That's what they need to do.
I agree. And I think it would be awesome if at some point down the line, when they get around to a Sinestro elsewhere, when they redo that, if they just bring him in. Like, who cares, right? He's so perfect visually, and then his voice and the performance he gave was, considering the script he was given, was really impressive.
Yeah.
Right. And I thought, and I didn't really have a problem with any of the acting in that movie. It's just script issues.
Yeah. Right. I mean, really bad script issues.
That movie was, for how it was written, it was better than it should have been.
I mean, and considering they were trying to take from the best Green Lantern run, that Jeff Johns run is so phenomenal. They still I think they they fumbled really bad. Right.
Oh, but yeah, that Sinestro tease was so good. And I was really looking forward to it. And then it was just never to be.
Yeah. It's tragedy, the real tragedy. I mean, I don't need more of the Snyder era. I just need more of Sinestro by Mark Strong.
Right. Well, with Flashpoint, they could do that.
Yeah.
It opens a lot of options, right?
I don't think James Gunn's going to do it, but never know.
You
never know. Yeah. I love Ryan. I love Magic Lasso's comment where he's because it's Sinestro always said that green fool. I remember that too.
That voice, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
I've got you now.
Super Friends is always just like the epitome of camp, but it was a camp, but you loved it.
But as a kid, right? It's perfect for you, right?
Man.
It was funny because one of my favorite DC characters actually appeared in that show twice, and that was Rima the Jungle Girl.
Well, yeah.
Good for that little 7-issue run, and that was its own thing. It was DC had so many cool things that they started and never did anything with.
Right.
Well, I think these universes, Marvel and DC, are so rich, and you definitely have all these little pockets and corners that have never been fully tapped into. And get out of here, Trev. You're crazy. You're crazy.
No, Ben Affleck was a good Daredevil. Again, that movie was script issues.
I mean, yeah,
Ben
but
had a
also
good
acting
imposing,
issues.
His
whole,
acting
like,
was fine.
I
The
think
script was just garbage.
I loved Michael Clark Duncan's Kingpin.
Yep.
That I'll give you. But that whole sequence with Elektra and him in the playground, I mean, that is laughable.
That was pretty bad. I thought that was bad too.
That's one of the worst comic book movie scenes outside of maybe anything Halle Berry's ever done.
There was a worse scene in that movie. It's when he's already stabbed and barely walking, and all of a sudden, even though he's a human, he's jumping 2 stories up in the cathedral.
Yeah. Right.
I'm like, wow, they just don't care about continuity or script or even know who the character is, that he couldn't make that jump if he wanted to.
Because it looks cool, though, Gary. Come on.
But
wait a second, Louis. He says there's a director's cut that's fire.
There is. The director's cut's better. I own both versions.
I don't know that I'm ready for this. I don't know that I'm prepared mentally for this.
At least
I can't have a montage scene.
Absolutely.
Jennifer Garner is attractive. Yes. That doesn't, but so is Halle Berry. So is Halle Berry, and I can't watch that Catwoman movie.
Catwoman, yeah.
I mean, I can barely
watch that movie just because she was in it. And my gosh. There's 2 movies that are the worst of comic book films to me.
Okay.
It's Catwoman, because it's that bad.
Yeah.
And it's Birds of Prey.
See, I didn't like either one. Yeah, those are both.
Birds of Prey, I thought was going to be good, and I had trouble finishing it.
It's bad.
And I'm easy to please.
I heard that about
You're talking to somebody that liked Roger Corman's Fantastic Four and found some fun in it.
But see, I think again that Roger Corman stuff falls into camp. It's not taking itself seriously, but Catwoman was trying to be serious. That's the scary part about that movie.
Right, exactly.
It's when they try to feel like they're really making quality art and failing horribly. That's the danger zone.
Chuck, that would be my number 3. I saw the Spirit movie.
Spirit movie, yeah.
Unfortunately, I saw it at the theater and paid money for it.
Oof.
And the only thing I could take away from it was Eva Mendes looked really good.
My wife was she still to this day talks about this comic book movie as like she was in, I think it was Arizona. It was like blazing hot. She's like, I needed to be in air conditioning. So I just bought a ticket at the only movie that was showing at the time. And it was the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen with Sean Connery.
But that one's at least fun and campy.
She still says it's one of the worst movies she's ever seen. And she gets like a vomit reaction just hearing about it.
See, I like it, actually. I had fun with that one.
So
probably
funny.
For the wrong reasons, but
I mean, right? Who's crapping on? Don't crap on Darkman. Darkman's amazing.
Yeah, Darkman.
Yeah, Darkman's great.
That's a level above camp for me. Like I can take Darkman full serious.
It's funny too because I bought the comic series that they had. There was like 2 runs, and I picked those up in the dollar bins. I'm like, what? Okay.
Darkman, gotta have them. Yeah,
it's a great book. Early Sam Raimi too movie. Come
on. Chuck was right though. That Spirit movie was bad. And
it was pretty bad.
I was in the theater going, should I just? No, I paid money. I'm going to finish it. Damn it.
My wife couldn't leave. She's like, I need this air conditioning or I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Right. What are you going to do? All right, 5, John.
All right, let's see here. I feel like my internet's
froze on us.
I think my internet's freezing up on me. I don't know if my girls are home and now they're on their phones or something. Oh. Am I freezing? Am I okay?
No, you're good.
Okay, you're okay. You're good. Agree, Mastodon.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Spider-Man book. One of my favorite reads. It's a one-shot kind of standalone issue of Spider-Man. This is issue number 15. From the 90s run of Spider-Man when Larson took over basically for
and did a
McFarlane.
Fantastic job taking over.
Yeah, he did.
I love it. I loved his Revenge of the Sinister Six storyline, which comes later. But I remember reading this and getting like I was in high school, but I got kid emotions from this. Like I legitimately got emotional reading this issue. For those that don't know, Spidey is considering having a kid with MJ and is genuinely worried they'll have a mutant and is scared of what that could mean. So he calls up his buddy Hank McCoy to ask him some questions about fatherhood and the genetic possibilities of having a mutant and what does this all mean. And meanwhile, there's like a strange monster kind of running in New York City, and the two of them team up to stop it, only to find out that it's a child who can't control his abilities looking for his parents.
Right.
And they have to return him to his family. And it all kind of comes together in this discussion of what does it mean to be a parent or a dad and having a child with special needs. There's a lot of like deeper.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pull that issue out when we get done and reread it. I have it here.
Yeah.
I haven't read it since it first came out.
It's fun and it's lighthearted in a lot of ways, but it also has deep thoughts to be kind of presenting. And
the Eric Larson run was probably one of my favorite runs in Spider-Man. I love the Eric Larson run.
I love his style and he captures these characters really, really well. And I think it's my favorite version of Hank because he's like still funny and light. So here they are swinging into action, and Hank is singing, "Here we come to save the day." And I don't like Dark Beast. I don't like evil, sinister Beast. I like lighthearted, genius Hank McCoy.
But with his intellect too, but he's still sarcastic. And
so this was the original issue that I purchased, and I just love all of it. I think it's got deep things to say. I love the Larson artwork is obviously top tier for me, and
it is. And what a thing, and I've said it on my channel many times, what a thankless job, right, to be the guy to follow Todd McFarlane on Spider-Man. And not only do you follow Todd McFarlane, but you come in and you knock it out of the park in your own style that's unique.
Right. And he does it on ASM and he did it on Spider-Man. He did it twice. He had to follow Todd
he was twice. Like, I got it, no worries, gents, I got it.
And again, I think I'm very much in the Todd McFarlane's overrated camp. I do not necessarily love his style. I get that he laid some groundwork and some important things, but I enjoy the Larson stuff better every time.
And Taylor's playing the role of wet blanket tonight.
I mean, they're 90s guys, so maybe you don't like the 90s stuff.
I like Bagley a lot, actually.
I like the Bagley stuff that he did with Bendis when he was doing the Spider-Man, the Ultimate Spider-Man.
I like the Carnage series that he did.
Yeah, they all have their phone in moments, so.
Well, I mean, at some point we all have to, right?
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it was probably under the gun to get it done. Just draw it out there.
Well, yeah, and CJ brings up Larson did the best Venom. The Drool didn't. He invented the Drool and the long tongue on Venom.
Yes, right. I was going to say like those covers where he's holding the skull of Spider-Man. The one when I feel like there's
the Macbeth homage.
There's several in that sequence of Venom versus Spidey. I've read those issues probably 100 times. They're just so much fun.
They are great era. All right,
so that's that's easily a dollar bin book, and a one issue like doesn't connect to anything outside of it, but really, really a lot of fun.
See, I keep forgetting to block Jackson Roykirk from my podcast.
We all have to remember that sometimes,
right? No, yeah, and that's why I love this show, right? Some of the best books you're ever going to read, you're going to get out of the dollar bin. Not everything's about a key.
Yes,
there's good writing everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those key issues are horrible reads.
I would say a lot of them.
Yeah, horrible reads.
I definitely know. I know that last time I was on here, I shared Uncanny X-Men 94, which is a huge book that I love. But 95 is a way better read, and nobody cares. Like that 95 gets overlooked a lot. It's a way better issue if you're going to read one of those two. 95 is the better read.
Right, and that's you can tell real comic enthusiasts by the ones who read, to me, right? Having keys is nice, but loving a book for the story and how it makes you connect to it is the best.
Correct.
All right. Number 6.
So I'm going to share something unusual that's probably never going to get shared on this show at any other time. I bought these. It's technically 4 books that are actually like 12 because these are collected color editions of the original TMNT books. So if you haven't seen these before, the original TMNT books are black and white, and they had no color.
And those are my favorites. They were great. They were adult stories.
Yes, very violent, lots of blood. Everybody had very red masks. There were not, all the multicolored masks at the time. But they didn't colorize them until this is the first time they put the characters in color. And it really highlighted just how cool and talented the artwork was in these early issues, considering these were self-published, kind of indie published books. So I found I bought these. I can't even remember like how long ago it was, but I found a shop that had them. They were like on the used shelf. I was a kid and I was like, I'd never read TMNT, but I'd seen the cartoon and I was like, let's check this out. And I was blown away. I still think these are the best TMNT stories I've ever read.
They are. And I'm not a Turtles fan, but I'm a fan of that original run. The black and white run was so good. Like I would reread that. Some of the stories are long, some of them are really short, but they're adult. And the Turtles, whatever the story is, they're going through some real pathos in a lot of those stories.
Absolutely. When they lose the Splinter and they're trying to find their way, that original TMNT live action movie took a lot from these early issues. And I love the action. There's not a ton of dialogue in some of these sequences. It's also like ridiculous. Some of the like dimension travel stuff in these early issues, but let's be honest, they're Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Here's a, I'll be gentle with it. Here's a fold out page. Really cool.
Wow. Look at that.
Right. I read these issues. I was like, the art in these is amazing. It's not silly like the cartoon.
Right. Look at that shredder. Oh my God.
Well, no, yeah, really it was all serious, Jim. It was like really deadly serious. It was really good.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about this guy. Is Haile going to rat me out? Is he going to start calling me fat again? I think he calls me short and fat is what he calls me. I'm watching out for you, Raul. I'm watching out. I thought Casey Jones was so freaking cool. But it's a great way to read these. And I don't know that they've ever like published these like this very often.
I've never seen those.
I've never seen them.
You can see how just like beat up these are. Yeah. I've read them. My girls have read them. They're really a cool way.
Yeah.
I had the black and white Turtles.
Oof.
So I loaned them to a friend who wanted to read them. And they got sick and puked all over just my books. But, I mean, I never loaned them anything again, obviously.
Oh, that hurts.
And that's the only Turtles I like is that old black and white one. That's it. I don't care for the Turtles.
So
I'm not a turtle collector at all, but those are great.
They're magazine size, and so each one of these collects 3 of the issues from the original run. There's 4 volumes. They published 4 volumes like this. And
I didn't know they existed in color.
They're really like they're Cerebus. They have a Cerebus crossover there. There he is. So like a lot of those like original stories, it was a cool way to read them, and I love these a ton. And my girls have read them. It's their only exposure to TMNT outside of the movie.
See, that's how I know you're a good dad.
You gotta give them, here's the reality. You give them a little bit of everything, and they'll pick the ones they love the most, and that's their domain, right? Like, so Charlie loves Archie comics. I'm not a big fan. She loves it. Let her have it. That's her thing.
Right.
She's
I
reading
thought you were
comics.
going to say Charles in charge for a second.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if there's a Charles in Charge comic that they love, let them have it.
Right.
At least they're reading comics,
right? Got to get them on the path somehow, right?
So you let them try a bunch of stuff, and then they'll find the thing that they love that means something to them, and then they'll stick with it longer than I've tried X-Men comics. They don't want it. They don't want X-Men. I gave up on that.
You probably started them out wrong. Did you start them out with the Dazzler issue? That's the right way to start.
One of the first like videos with Charlie on my YouTube channel was she picked from my X-Men books. She picked the wedding of Jean Grey and Scott from X-Men. It's like issue 25 or something.
Yeah.
And she wanted to read that one, you know, pretty dress and they're getting married. Let me read this book.
Yes.
And she loved it. And then I gave her the original omnibus, the Claremont omnibus to read. And she was like, this is kind of boring. When did they get married? Like, where's the love story stuff? And I was like, Jean has to go psycho and die first, sweetie. And then there's love later.
Right. And then she gets reborn. It's very romantic. And then she wants
Right.
to kill everybody again even later.
But then she gets cloned in between. And there's like a evil twin version. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that was one of the first videos. That was like an early one that she read.
All right. Well, number 7.
All right, let's see here. Yeah. I'm gonna share. Let's do another Daredevil book. Shout out to Man Cave Comics, one of the crazy AOKers in this community. He wanted to send me a book that he's like, this is I'll send you a big book, and then he threw in what he called like some throwaway books. And I want you guys to understand the kind of person Man Cave is, because a throwaway book to Man Cave is a key grail to a plebeian like the rest of us.
Right.
So this is a throwaway book to Man Cave. This is Daredevil issue 16. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Man Cave threw this in. He's like, yeah, it's just something else to go along. Like, you just take this one.
Good Lord.
He gave it to me not only because he knew I was a Daredevil fan, but he knew that my favorite Spidey artist is John Romita Sr.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that don't know, this is the first time Sr. drew Spidey. So he was like, oh, you should have this. This is the first time he drew Spider-Man. You'll really like this. But it was kind of like I think he might like this. I don't even know.
I just saw that book like literally 4 days ago. So at Rhino's Comics, there's a young collector there, and a really nice kid named Dominic, a big Daredevil fan. And he just crossed that book off his list.
Good for him.
So he was in there all happy, holding the book. Great copy.
I mean, it's a fun cityscape cover.
It is.
You joked about how high can Daredevil jump. I mean, let's just really look.
It's above the city. Yeah,
let's
sure.
just
No problem.
really study that.
Right.
But for me, yeah, it's the Romita Sr. history here, right? What a great moment in the history of Spidey. Buck Wild. I'll line my birthcake.
It's with it.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I agree, CJ. John Romita Sr. is
100%.
my favorite Spider-Man artist of all time.
100%.
This is why we all get along, right?
Yeah.
But I had like bed sheets with Romita Sr. Spidey on them. Like I think I still have them. I'm not gonna lie.
Ditko introduced the character. Romita perfected the character.
Right.
That's a good way to say it.
He made him iconic.
Well, and didn't Kirby do the first cover anyways? Wasn't that it's a Kirby cover, right? Amazing Fantasy 15, I believe Kirby had to go and redo it because they didn't like Ditko's version. So someone can correct me in the chat, but I'm 99% sure that AF-15's cover is by Jack Kirby.
And I've told you guys before too, I'm a huge ROM fan, but like the last 15 to 20 issues were drawn by Ditko, and they're tough to look at.
It's the death nail.
Yeah, it was him. That was when Ditko was really phoning it in on ROM. Like ROM was just all sorts of weird splotches on him. Like, what are you doing? He's a robot.
All right, thank you, Chad Barbarian Kung Fu. He's saying that I'm correct. It is a Kirby cover.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of because I remember later they published Ditko's version, which is quite different. The look, the angle, the perspective, and everything. So what they had done was looked at Ditko's version and then told Kirby they wanted something a little more heroic looking. And so he lowered the perspective and gave you a skyline background instead of the people down below gasping in horror or whatever. And Kirby was the one that they went with in the end. But it is, to Izzy's point, it's in Ditko's style. Yeah.
It's always funny when they hire an artist, when the artist, they want an artist to do it in another artist style, but that artist is available. It's like, why not just get that artist then?
Right. Why would you hire Quentin Tarantino if you want a Scorsese movie, right?
Right.
Oh, here we go. And Ditko's covers on the back of Spider-Man Saga 1 if you want to see it.
Stop screaming at us, Chad. You can type
No,
in
it's
lowercase
so-
letters, buddy.
It's the Kung Fu, man. It gets you overexcited.
He was jazzed up by me talking about Kirby, clearly. I get it.
All right, number 8, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to a book that's cheap. You can find this book anywhere. I read a lot of indies. My favorite is a Jeff Lemire series called Descender. It's basically a Battlestar Galactica robots kind of thing, but it hits a lot of chords about childhood, about growing up. And issue 29 has a variant that, for me, captures what I love about it. So this is the Where the Wild Things Are variant.
Wow.
And you've got basically the three main characters: the robot boy, Tim, his robot dog, and Driller, the giant robot who accidentally killed Tim's parents. Driller is a killer. And there's a lot of pathos and tragedy in this series. It makes me well up inside like a great comic should. It's a lot about growing out of things as a child, because little boy Tim can't really grow up. He's always going to be this age as a robot. But this, if you haven't read this series, I highly recommend Descender by Lemire and Dustin Nguyen, who does a real great watercolor art style, which isn't for everybody, but fits beautifully this sort of galactic view of the universe. And
Right, it's a beautiful homage. It's great.
And yeah,
Is it in trade?
it is absolutely in trade. They've even got like the big collected image hardcover versions.
Now that was before Ascender, right?
Correct. It's so Descender has 3 of those large graphic novel versions, which amounts to, I think, 9 trades. And then Ascender has 6 trades. It's a follow-up series, but it takes place a lot later with different characters. A few similar characters cross over. You can really just read the Descender. I think it captures everything you need. But Ascender is a nice follow-up as well.
And you got
The
Taylor
Wind,
Winnis and Dustin Nguyen. Nguyen's art is fantastic.
It's beautiful. And I know they're doing Little Monsters together right now, which is a popular vampire series that people love. Driller is a phenomenal character. And I get like emotional when you get into his story, because you can see that he's dealt with a lot of tragedy and he's carrying a lot of heavy burden on his shoulders, trying to do the right thing. I love a good robot movie, a good robot story.
And we're all still getting trolled by Jackson. He's waiting for Return Descendants.
Sorry.
How do we know that wasn't coming?
Volume. That's the 3rd volume, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Yet
just
to come
happy
out.
that I got some of his great one-liners in my broadcast. You know, I'll take it.
And yeah, Donnie, I think Jeff Lemire is absolutely a super top tier writer. And for me, I like sci-fi and I like robot stories.
Yeah.
This is the best Lemire's done. It's emotional, it's original, and it's beautiful to look at. You know, the characters and the art are really top tier.
Nice. All right.
So I had to include some indies, so there you go.
Well, hold on.
The rest is all DC gang, so buckle up. Or sorry, Marvel. I'm
Harrison.
Marvel. And you know it's Marvel. I'm only going to do Marvel the rest of it.
All right, number 9, John.
Number 9. I'm going to go with probably my favorite single issue to read of Uncanny X-Men. And I'm going to go with issue 201. So many reasons I love this issue. Not only because Storm has an amazing mohawk, and I love this era of
I love
punk rock
Mohawk Storm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this. This is the best the Danger Room has ever been. So for those that don't know the story, Cyclops thinks he wants to come back and be the leader of the X-Men. Storm says, no, you got to take it from my cold, dead fingers if you want to take this leadership away. They come up with this idea of playing tag in the Danger Room. And whoever can tag the other one first wins. The trick is, at this point in the story, Storm has sort of lost her powers and is basically trying to figure out what happened. And so she has no powers. So she is powerless against Cyclops, and they're in the Danger Room together, battling it out for the leadership of the team. It's incredible. It is the first baby Cable, Donnie. You're correct. But I don't care about the baby. What makes it a key? It's the excitement of the story and watching Storm really come into her own as a leader. and Cyclops realizing that his time in the X-Men has passed, and it's time for him to move on to the and obviously X-Factor is where he goes.
Right.
I love the art. The artwork in this is fantastic. So it's all done. This particular is done by Rick Leonardi, but Whilce Portacio is the inker.
Oh.
So you get a little of that Whilce Portacio style thrown in here. I'm sorry, let me do my best. This is the original copy that I bought when I was a kid and read. There's the baby Cable, everybody's little baby, little Nathan. For me, it's all about the tag game that ends up going down between what do you got? There's Rogue in her typical swimwear. That's how Rogue is just that's casual Rogue, casual Friday Rogue.
But you remember how mean she used to look when she was a villain?
Oh yeah.
I just recently got those ROM issues, the two ROM issues with
16
her.
and 17.
Yes, sir. There's a Colossus going full metal just to hit a home run in softball out front of the mansion.
I mean, if you can, why not?
Yes, Donnie, it is exactly the issue right after.
I doubt that's the only place he goes full metal.
So good. Here they are chasing each other through the basically they did a post-apocalyptic scenario in the Danger Room, and they're running around chasing each other through it. And
but
Cyclops
is just great, right? Look at that.
It's just so good. I love it. It's not a Wolverine heavy issue, so those that are Wolverine fans might be like, wait, I want more Logan in here. But for me, it's all about just the personalities of the characters. And Storm realizes that she has the advantage. All she needs to do is take Cyclops' mask away, and she wins. And he's helpless. So she sneaks up on him, jumps over him, pulls the mask off his head, and wins. And that's it.
Yeah, I mean, she used to be a thief. You hope she could sneak up on him.
Right?
That's a reader. He knows what's up. I've probably read this issue another 100 times. It's just a great read.
John, with X-Men, you know what I would really love to see in a movie? Is just keep it ground level. Them and the Morlocks.
Yeah.
Below ground. You could get a really
Marauders
good
Massacre storyline, right?
I used to love when they would had the Morlocks in it. It would just.
I thought you were gonna throw him the 1970s Dazzler pitch that you have going out there. It's floating out there. That you, me, and Ryan will be and me and Scotty Bond. The four of us will be at the movie theater. Everybody else will be gone. It'll be Lasso, Scotty Bond, Gary, and me watching the 1970s Dazzler.
Someone will get my pitch to Marvel, and it'll work out.
It'll work out.
Oh, so good.
See, now, what Jim's talking about, John, is my pitch for Marvel is they have all these series coming out, right?
Right.
You do a Dazzler series, but not today. You do a 1970s Dazzler series, where she was one of the only mutants around.
And a rock star, a celebrity musician.
She's got that microphone necklace. She's got to have the microphone.
Maybe you throw Lenny Kravitz in there. Maybe you get some Boney M to come back. Who knows? I
mean, hey, the Rolling Stones are still playing, right? CJ,
they are, but I don't know who's holding them up.
Yeah, I know.
Comic Journey asked if it was John Romita. It is in the John Romita era, but it's an issue that he skipped. He did not do 201. But you're correct. It is that particular era where Romita was doing a lot of issues. Rest in peace. Tina Turner. Too soon, Bobby. Too soon.
Yes, Ryan. Ryan, you can never say Dazzler enough on this channel.
Yeah.
But I also think one of the things about the Morlock saga that I found interesting was that the best mutant stories involve this concept of rejection by society, right? The idea that these characters were pushed out in some way. And the Marauders Massacre story, you get basically these very poor characters living underground and basically being wiped out, systematically wiped out, and the X-Men coming to their rescue. What a great concept and a great way to highlight what the team is all about. Beautiful sequence, and one of the original crossovers. You get a Daredevil issue and a Thor issue and all these things coming together to tell this one epic event.
Now, and you're gonna laugh at this one, but one of my favorite X-Men issues is 148. When you have Spider-Woman,
yes,
Storm, Kitty Pryde, and Dazzler.
Yeah, that's what it's just. I think the best X-Men issues are not these big global things, but like you see
There are
them as
personal
like
moments in the issues.
these individual moments, right? These personal
Right.
sequences. And I think the Marauders Massacre captured that. This issue 201 captured it. And yeah, getting to see just recently they did, I think it was called The Exterminators, maybe. But it was all about like a few mutant ladies wanting to go for a night on the town, and the Dazzler's in it, and they go out for a party.
I love it. That series was so much fun.
was so
It was
good.
incredible.
Yeah, and they get like attacked by vampires, and it's like they basically end up at the club in Blade, and then they have to like fight their way out.
Right.
It's so good.
And the whole time Dazzler didn't know she was dating a vampire.
It had a sense of humor. It was fun, and it was true to
Boom
the
Boom
characters.
was great.
Yeah. It was a lot of the side characters they don't normally utilize, the Dazzlers and Boom Booms, although they did have X.
And there's an undercover spec right there. Secret Wars 2, issue 5, first appearance of Boom Boom.
Yep.
Exactly. We keep saying Dazzler, Ryan, we don't want you to leave. We don't want you to go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere.
But let me say this before we get to issue 10.
Yeah.
I am a Polaris over Jean Grey fan.
I mean, I get
man,
it.
when I was reading X Factor and just with Polaris in it, like
Yeah.
I love Polaris in that era. It was written so well. I just really
That
loved
second team, right?
it. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was
I'd
so
love
good.
to get that Steranko cover though.
Like when that hit the shelves every month, I was excited to read it. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
wait to just crack it open and get reading. And
So, Jim,
Polaris
do you
was so good in it.
Do you consider the Steranko cover her first appearance, or is it the other one right in front of it? Because I know that there's that she's got that little first appearance cameo question mark thing.
Yeah, I don't care. That Steranko cover to me is just fire. I
It's
mean,
the one,
it-
that
it-
green-
First cover appearance.
yeah. I mean,
But
it,
they did
it's
that-
just the best.
They did that bullshit with Red Sonja too. First full appearance, Conan 24. She's in the entire issue of 23. The whole story.
The whole
She's
story.
telling the entire story. No, that's her first appearance.
Exactly.
It wasn't a small part. She didn't show up at the back page and go, "Hey, boys, stick around." No,
And I
she-
think
Yeah.
I feel like that's a testament to the era of collecting that we were from, which was the wall book, where it was like if it wasn't on the
Caroline.
cover, it wasn't a key, right? So Hulk 180 was never a key because he wasn't on the cover, and 181 was the book because you could just see him. Like there's Wolverine's first appearance,
right.
and I think that the cover thing mattered more when it was not a digital era; it was a wall book era, and you could just look up there and see that's Polaris
Right.
or that's Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because like in Conan 24 is obviously the better cover. It's one of my favorites. It's always behind me. It's on the wall. I have it in a foreign version. I have the real thing, but
Right?
yeah, but I just hate when they blatantly lie about something. You know, like, look, dude, every fucking page has this character on it. It's not a cameo.
Look at Jackson Roy Kirk.
Okay, he's talking funny.
Where's that? I'm contacting StreamYard about a ban button here.
You got to figure that. They got to make that happen.
Gonna make that happen.
All right, number 10, John.
We'll call it the Roy Kirk button.
Right?
So this last one is another one of a kind. You're only going to see this on the Gary B show here, or if you watch my unboxing of this. And this goes to J Hood Creative. For those that don't know, Jamie, great community member, great talented guy. He's an artist. He does incredible artwork. And he messaged me one day and he said, "Hey, can I make you a sketch cover?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever you want to do." He's like, "Do you have any ideas? Do you have any favorite stuff?" And I was like, "Dude, you're making it, like whatever you want to do." And then he sent me this without any preface, and it included epic instructions as like which parts to reveal at one at a time.
Ooh.
When I did it.
How fun is
That's
that?
cool.
He is just a top flight guy. So he sent this to me, and I'll reveal it the same way I did when I unboxed it.
That is such an amazing way to do it.
He wanted it to be in phases, right? So I tried to save it the exact same way so that I could reveal it whenever I wanted. So here's part one. So it says the House of X Minions, and there's a minion angel flying into the logo.
Now I got the
Love it.
Minion song going. Pa, 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 pa.
You can hear them, right?
Yeah.
Part two has The
Oh my
beast,
God.
beast is hanging from the logo.
That's
Storm is
Oh,
flying
look
with
how
one
good
eye.
Storm is,
It's so good, right?
right?
He nailed it. Absolutely amazing. Again, shout out to Jamie. If you don't follow J Hood Creative, he is freaking hilarious and freaking amazing.
Look at the
Oh my
Nightcrawler.
gosh.
I mean, even the like
Nightcrawler, look
clouds
at him.
around Nightcrawler, right?
Yep.
The look on Jean's face and the like putting her hand to her temples to do her like
Yeah.
telepathy.
But there's like great sneaky detail in there. Look at that cloud around Nightcrawler. It's
Right?
Yeah, I know, right? It's amazing.
The detail in the inking, and it's just Jamie is just
Exactly.
absolutely amazing.
Ba-da-da.
Ba-la-la. Yeah, so good. And then he said no cheating at the bottom one. You got to save the bottom one for last. You can almost tell by the pointiness what it's probably going to be. Because it's got to be Logan, and there he is.
It's so fluffy.
It's so good, right?
That
It's
is so
funny.
perfect.
He
Wow.
nailed this. It is a
Wow.
one-of-a-kind sketch cover for House of X issue 1, which also shout out to Jamie. He hates this era of X-Men, which I enjoy, but he hates it. So for him to buy one of these covers and then sketch it, the guy truly was doing me an epic favor here.
Yeah, it takes some
I have
time.
to
I
agree
mean,
with
he had to
DVH
color it.
here. That
Yes.
is superb.
I mean,
Yeah, we got a fire.
Ugh.
So good.
He even
from
changed
Chad.
the logo. He had to like cover
House
the
of-
men
yeah.
and then make it into
Minions.
minions. Like he had to change the cover.
I mean,
That
the
is-
time
that
he
is
took
so
to do
good.
it, though. I mean, the
Ugh.
colors and everything. Look
Yeah.
how clean it is.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
so
my
funny too
God.
because House of X, people either love it or hate it. It's one or
It
the
is
other.
that way. It's
Or
so
Powers of
polarizing.
X, yeah.
Yeah.
Either one, yeah.
So,
That's
Jamie,
awesome.
yet again, I will say thank you to you for doing this, for taking the time. It was one of the most hilarious unboxings. Watching me and the girls open this on Saturday, like, oh,
It's
so fun.
it's hilarious, but at the same time, the art is so good. Like you're looking at it, and all you can do is appreciate it.
I know.
Yeah.
Like look at Beast's face.
Yeah, he's even got the detail in like the fur and the like the shininess of the steel in Colossus. It's so good. I love it. I love all of it. So thank you, Jamie. Much
A
appreciated. my
flawless
friend.
interpretation.
And again, I think the fun of sketch covers is coming up with an idea that means something to either the artist or the person getting it or both, and then creating something that is so one of a kind. You know, so I've shared 2 of those just today.
That is absolutely phenomenal. We're all better for seeing that one, John. That's,
Right?
That's great. That
Yeah.
I mean,
That was beautiful.
that was incredible.
So there you go, one of a kind, and saved it for last there.
All right, so number 11 with a story, but that was a good story right there.
I
Yeah,
did,
I
How do
was
you
thinking.
top it?
So this one, I've shouted out a lot of community members, and now I'm going to shout out I mean, I don't know how to say more that hasn't been said, but I will say I first found this community member. I was watching an episode of Comics with Bueller, and he's like, "Oh, I got an unboxing from a friend that I haven't met yet in Florida, and he sent me this book." And he opens it, and it's a Hulk 181, and this friend had just gifted him Hulk 181, and he's like, "This is insane. I don't know what's going on. Thank you, Steve Whiting." Steve Whiting, like, well, you're an insane person. Like, who gifts somebody a Hulk 181 like this? So I announced, "Oh, I'm going to Florida right before the pandemic. I'm excited to go to MegaCon." And Steve messages me. He's like, "Oh, I got something for you." I was like, "Oh, you didn't have to do that, man. I just want to come to Florida." Pandemic hits, MegaCon's canceled. I don't go, and he ships it to me. And I open the box. I'm like, what is he doing? And it's Avengers #2. And
Wow.
I'm like, this is insane. Who gifts anybody that? Right?
Right?
Steve Whiting is a mad, insane person on a different level. So it turns out I went to MegaCon this year. And when I meet Steve Whiting, he hands me this.
Jeez.
Steve Whiting is
Just drop
the craziest person I've ever met in person. He's given me both of these books.
That's
Well,
nuts.
I swear I don't owe
Incredible.
Steve Whiting money. I swear I don't he doesn't have any of my children hostage or vice versa. I don't know what I've done to deserve that kind of thing, but yes, You can even on YouTube or on Instagram and YouTube. I think it's on whose channel. They have the reveal of him handing this to me in Florida. I think it's on Jim Boatwright's channel, and
Wow.
it's stupid. You don't see me curse that much in a quick progression as you do when I'm sharing that.
Now, it should be noted real quick as a shout out.
Yeah.
That Steve Whiting is new to me. I don't know him. I haven't seen him.
Yeah.
But I did reach out to him, and he is on the 10-1-1 June 6th.
Awesome.
So, John, if you want to be a part of that, let me know, and I'll have you co-host with us.
Honestly, before he even gave me either of these books, a friend of mine said, "Hey, we want to do something for Steve," and I was like, just from the joy of watching that unboxing with Bueller, I was like, I want to get involved, and everybody chipped in a little bit of money, and we got him the first appearance of Groot. This amazing because he is a big Groot fan. And that first appearance is this epic Silver Age key that is kind of hard to get in a high grade.
Yeah.
And shout out to Jimmy.
Completely different too. It's just so weird.
Oh, very different. And so,
but it's an awesome cover.
Yeah, right. It's that amazing cover with he's really bulky, like a big thick tree. And Jimmy the Geek Aficionado found a great copy of it, and everybody chipped in so he could snag it. And then the unboxing. I've never seen. It was great to flip the script on Steve.
And he didn't have this book?
No, he did not.
No, he didn't.
Wow.
He has an Avengers 1 to give away, but he doesn't have that.
Right. I mean, that's the hard thing with some of these collectors that have so much. He's like, what don't they have? What do you get them?
Yeah.
And so he may end up. I don't want to spoil it on the 10-1-1 because he may end up wanting to share it. But so, Steve Whiting, you are a crazy person, and I did not, hanging out with him and all those amazing folks down in Florida just for a week was just awesome. And this was like, I needed to change my underwear after this. So thank you again, Steve.
John doesn't even wear underwear and it had to get changed.
I don't usually, yeah. But I knew whenever I'm around Steve, you just got to be ready.
Awesome. We got a couple really good ones coming up with Chuck Hensey and Steve Whiting. So and John, that's one of the best things about doing this show is I get to meet new people all the time.
Yeah.
I
think these kinds of shows and I thank you for having me on, but these kind of shows are great for getting people a chance to broaden their community now. Because there's all these little cliques where you may not, I'm in Pop Culture Philosophers chat, but I don't jump over to the Gem Mint crew or the Legion of Comics crew, right? There's all these fun little cliques. And I think that's also the beauty of the comic book community awards is the opportunity to spread the joy across to other cliques a little bit.
Right. And before we get to your spec pick, I'm just going to shout it out here. Anyone that watches this show or seen an episode, if you haven't been on and you want me to schedule you, just reach out to me on Instagram messages. I will have you on. This channel is for everybody. John will tell you. So Hialeah Comic Bro, Raging Cajun, Mastodon, all you guys, if you want to be on this show and come do your own 10-1-1, just reach out to me on Instagram, message me. I will, if I have to schedule you 2 months out, I'll get you on the show.
Everybody except Hialeah, Raul, we
don't
need more of you.
Right.
We don't need more of you.
And it's not about your big books, guys.
No.
It's about what you like. This show is about stories you love and books you're connected to.
I tried to broaden it a little bit for this week, especially because I was like, I didn't want it all to be one or the other. I wanted a little bit of everything, and so I didn't mean to end on Avengers 1. Yeah,
hitting a banger though.
Finish with an Avengers 1.
Well, let's get to your spec pick, sir.
So I'm not a big spec guy, and I made the comment last time that it's more about the read, right? The book that I really enjoy,
right?
So I chatted a lot last time about Strange Academy and how I thought people should really read it. It's a great series. It's a fun one to read. So I'm going to shout out another person that I think is really talented, David Mack. And one of the things I love that David Mack did was the original Echo Daredevil storylines. And so I know these are hot spec books, the first appearance and the first cover of Echo. And I know she's got her own series potentially coming later on. I know she was in Hawkeye, but I'm going to say it's not about that. Like, you can snag this hardcover, even if you find David Mack at a con, which is where I bought it. He was even willing to like sign it, remark it for me. Such a nice guy, like one of the nicest comic book creators I've ever met. And you get this great story with this great artwork and a really original character that I think is Echo. I find her fascinating. It's pretty awesome. Except for being fat and except for being short, I'm okay.
And just a fun little character, like a simple design, but an effective design.
Right.
And that cover is better than the issue. And again, where the second cover is better than the first one, right?
Yep.
Fact.
I agree.
And I've basically collected everything from when Quesada and Kevin Smith took over on issue 1 all the way through into Brubaker's era later on, because it goes Bendis and then Brubaker and then Wade. I've collected all those issues because I love the Bendis era, and Bendis has a lot of David Mack covers, a lot of David Mack art thrown into his run as well.
But if you just 7-issue Spider-Woman run,
if you just want the Echo stuff, they do collect single volumes. Like this one's called Parts of a Whole, where you can get the important stuff for her creation, her character. Really cool character. She does not have the Phoenix Force. No, not anymore. I guess they had a storyline where that happened. I think it got away. I think she lost it. There is a new book that just came out this week, and I can't remember. I think Phil Noto is doing the art. It's called Daredevil and Echo.
Right.
Like it's like a mini series, and I did grab it, but I haven't read it yet, so I can't speak.
Well, there's an Echo mini series out. We didn't get any of it because of the Diamond distributor truck crash, so we didn't get any Marvel books this week. So when I went to my LCS, I had one book.
Oh, jeez! Ouch! Ouch!
Because like you, I'm primarily a Marvel collector, so I had one indie waiting for me, and that was Dawn Attacks #1.
Ouch! That's harsh.
Yeah.
So it is a spec book. I know these books are really hot, but I had been collecting them for quite a while just because I really loved this era of Daredevil. Is one of my all-time faves, from Kevin Smith through Brubaker and Wade. I just absolutely love all of it. And these are fun. You should read. People should read it.
Who was your favorite Daredevil artist? Because there's been some great ones on DD in the day.
That is really hard. That's what she said. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to say Klaus Janson. I'm going to say Klaus Janson, because here's the reason why. For those that don't know, the Frank Miller era, which is iconic, was 2 books every month drawn and written by Frank Miller. And Frank freely admits that Klaus Janson basically did the art, and that he quickly sketched the pages and would move them on to him so that he could keep getting the work pumped out. Because again, Can you imagine anybody writing and drawing 2 issues a month these days?
It's nuts.
It's not possible. And later they even gave Klaus the name, the job title of finisher, because that's really what he was doing. He was not inking these pages. He was finishing the art and then inking it when it was done. So I'm gonna shout out Klaus Janson, who is again another amazing guy you can meet at cons and is very nice to talk to. So I'm gonna throw it to him.
It's a good pick, man. It's a good pick.
Simon, you're hilarious.
It's a good pick. I remember 2005 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Baltimore, and
yes,
it was the my wife's like, look, Stan's going to be there, and you should go ahead and get a picture, and I've already paid for everything, so you're going. And I was like, I love you. And and so I had it was a package thing. She wasn't going to go though, but so I invited my friend, and we were walking around, and he's like, man, I'm going to go up and see if Klaus would do a little sketch.
Yeah.
And he went over and he's like, hey, will you draw a sketch for me? And he just took a backing board and just drew Spider-Man right there and said, here you go. And
awesome.
We walked away. No cash, no nothing.
Wow.
And I was like, dude, you just got that for free.
That's
like, I know. He's awesome, isn't he? And I was like, man, it's incredible.
I met him at Baltimore Comic-Con. in 2020. It was like 2020, I think 2021. And what the basically the last year before COVID hit, and he was there, and I knew he was going to be there, so I took the 2 issues with Punisher versus Daredevil that the in the Miller run, those books that are apparently hot again now. And I took those, and he signed both of those for me, because those were iconic wall books for me. Like, you'd see those Punisher versus Daredevil covers and be like, those are freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And he was so nice. And again, like, almost nobody in his line. I couldn't believe
we walked right up to him.
You walked right up to him, and he was super nice. And same with, like, Marv Wolfman was there, and it was the same deal. You walk right up to these amazing guys. And Wolfman was like, yes, I asked for money, but it's for the Hero Initiative. And he's got the little cup out there, and he's like, just throw in money for the Hero Initiative. I donate it all. Just the best people.
I tell you, if you're ever at a con and you see Keith Williams, go up to him. Another super nice dude. He inked so much for Marvel, and then and he's a good artist too. I bought his a She-Hulk print from him, which is amazing. Him and his wife is usually with him, also super nice. But Keith Williams, like, a lot of that Web of Spider-Man run, he inked.
Yeah,
just a really nice. I mean, he did a lot more than that, but he signed 6 covers for me. Just talked the whole time.
That's awesome.
Right.
Pocan Joe is in the chat, and I was at that Baltimore con hanging out with Pocan Joe and Donnie and some of the awesome people in your chat right now.
How do I miss
Donnie? Donnie even cruised through with me and hunted Lego figures. We were hunting Lego figures together.
How did I miss you? I mean,
that was the year that the Comic Core had like a booth where they were interviewing people like all day, 24/7 or whatever. The all day long. That doesn't make sense.
I must have missed that con that year. I went this last time, and Pocan Joe, and it was me, Remy, and Pocan, and my brother, and I was like, my brother's like, I gotta go back to the hotel. I can't keep up with these guys. And I was like, yeah, we're going to go.
It's a lot.
I think, and I missed the great story.
No.
I mean, CJ wants to know if you're going to Heroes Con, John.
I'm not. I blew my wad at the MegaCon this year. I flying to a comic convention is still very new to me. Like, I'm a teacher. I'm on a teacher budget, and just flying period takes away most of my budget.
Right.
So I had money for the sketch variants that I got for Batman and that I shared earlier, and I had money for my flight, and then I was crashing at an Airbnb with Old Wolf and his wife and his son. So like Baltimore was the same way. I had friends that helped me get there, and the Comic Core hooked me up with like a pass, and then I was crashing with White Whale Comics in his hotel room. So it's like traveling to comic conventions.
Good to have friends.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, honestly, that's the community part. Like, as much as Raul was a complete jerk to me, like meeting those guys was the best part about it, you know.
Now, I can't believe I haven't had you on in the hot seat. So we're going to amend that, because I'm scheduling June right now. So we're getting you in there now that you open your mouth about it.
Yeah. I'm scared, but I'm ready.
No, it'll be fun. You know, we always have fun.
Oh, it's a great show.
Oh, goodness. Well, wow. Great books, John. Another, and I'm going to tell you, have 12 more ready. We'll get you on for a 3-peat at some point. That's
always
the
ready.
Of the show, right? It's not a top 10. It's just 10 favorites, and then those other 2 just to make the title catchy.
Yeah, I promise I'll get some Savage Dragon in next time. I skipped Dragon this time, and I'm already regretting it. So there will be Dragon next time.
Ooh, some more Larson to go.
Always.
Nice, but I want to. We'll start wrapping it up, and we'll see what's coming up for everybody. We've actually went for an hour and 15 minutes. Can you believe it went by that fast?
It's crazy.
When you're having fun, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, this is. I love hosting this show. It's so effortless because I mean everything's on the guest, right?
Because I got to do all the freaking work. I get it now. I get it. Derek B's like, I get to sit here and just like drink whatever I want, and I can leave. He goes to the bathroom and turns the camera off and comes back.
Right.
And the show's still going.
And... right. Oh, this guy's still talking. It runs itself. All right, Jim, what's coming up for you, sir? And hold on. I want to comment too. So Jim's got the full J Lo going tonight.
God. Yeah, I
That's
didn't
the
put a
Jim
cat on.
Halo because when with the light behind him and his white hair, it gets the J Lo going.
Yeah, I didn't put a hat on tonight. He's gonna point out the J Ho or whatever. Let's see. I have been hounding this place to let me metal detect it, and I got a partial yes. So I'm probably gonna shoot some footage tomorrow for that. And then I'm hoping if I find anything good, you guys will see it. I'll put together a video. It'll be nice. And
Nice.
I want to go over the mountain. The other side of the mountain, we have some nice antique stores. Sometimes you can get some deals on books.
I want to
Sometimes
see you dig for truffles now, Jim.
truffles. The oddly thing is where I am is in the middle of Maryland, but it's not too far that you can't be in West Virginia. I mean, just like that. And in certain parts of West Virginia, they do that ginseng thing. Really, it's serious business. So I don't know.
What's up, Candace in the chat? She is one of my Lego and X-Men homies.
And Candace has been a guest on the show on this channel quite a few times.
She's awesome.
She's done a 10-1-1. She's done In the Hot Seat, and one of the most fun times I ever had on this show was doing the live watch party of John Carpenter's The Thing, which had Candace, Lady Fantastic, and oh my gosh,
Shy Comic Girl.
Yes, Shy Comic Girl. Thank you. I totally
Haley, yeah.
Haley, yeah. I had to think for a second. Yeah.
Haley's great.
That episode, watching them watch The Thing for the first time was so much fun. All three of them had never seen it.
So cool.
So yeah, her, Haley, and Caroline were watching it and just
I love it.
Just watching their reactions, like, oh my gosh.
Well, and Haley, I'm ready for another Lego build. I got the new Guardians Lego ship here. I'm ready.
Gosh.
I am ready. This is the biggest Lego set I've ever bought. It's over 1,000 pieces. This is going to be a slow. I may need 3 or 4 episodes to finish.
Man, I don't have patience to build like that.
My wife got me the Venom and the Carnage heads.
Oh, yes.
The Milano?
I almost died. I said, I can't finish this.
I got the Infinity Gauntlet with all the jewels on it right there.
Nice.
Yeah.
And best name for a ship ever.
I mean, well, so I learned that he had the Milano. Then when the Milano got destroyed, he had another one that was more purple that was called the Benatar. After Pat Benatar. This was named after Alyssa Milano. Then Pat Benatar. His new one, the one I just got, is the Bowie.
See, because like people that are our age don't understand the Milano. Like when you
not at all,
Milano,
right?
You had if you were a male, you had a crush on Milano, and
correct.
If you were a female, you had a crush on Milano. There's nobody that didn't crush on Milano,
right? You had to.
Oh Lord.
Oh goodness. But so that's what's coming up for Jim. John, what's coming up for you, sir?
Well, it's perfect that you mentioned John Carpenter. Tomorrow night, I'm hanging out with my friend Dan of Comic Chop News, and I'm doing another of our Drinks and Movies shows where he and I like to just go off on a couple of movies and have a fun time talking. And he brought In the Mouth of Madness, a more modern John Carpenter film with Sam Neill.
Apocalypse trilogies.
It's a lot of fun, a buck wild ride. I just rewatched it the other day and had a blast. I'm bringing a lesser popular Coen Brothers movie called Miller's Crossing with Gabriel Byrne. Yeah.
Gabriel Byrne was so good. I really liked him in that Schwarzenegger horror movie that everybody poo-pooed on.
Is that End of Days?
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved End of Days.
Yeah.
I thought it was so good. Loved it.
So each of us is bringing a movie the others watched, and then we're playing a little game called what movie has the same energy? So I picked a movie that has the same energy as In the Mouth of Madness that I'll reveal on Friday night. He picked one for Miller's Crossing that he feels like has the same energy as Miller's Crossing, and we'll just have a lot of fun chatting movies.
Yeah. That sounds awesome because you're talking to a guy that watches at least 2 Carpenter flicks a week.
Oh, now you're talking.
The Thing I watch every week. Sometimes I watch it every day of the week.
My girls are just starting to get into horror movies now that they've like fully gone Stranger Things and everything. So they're starting to get, so I'm ready for them to watch like the first Friday the 13th, the first Nightmare, the first Halloween. I'm ready to go back and give them a chance at each of these.
Oh, so good. Yeah. I love those.
Yeah.
And of course, with Sam Neill, you can't go wrong with him in The Mouth of Madness.
And I almost considered doing like what I consider to be like the sequel, which is Event Horizon. Like that's a great.
I love Event Horizon.
Talk about a movie with the same energy.
To me.
Yeah, really good.
Event Horizon was one of those movies that people don't talk about enough.
Yeah. And it seemed like too obvious a pick. I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I went a different direction with what movie might have the same energy as In the Mouth of Madness.
Ooh, all right. And of course, The Fog. I love The Fog.
Ooh, good one.
And what was great about the John Carpenter flicks is there was atmosphere, right?
Oh yeah.
A lot of those movies don't even have a drop of blood in them, and they have you on the edge of your seat, just waiting to see what's going to happen next.
Well, I think suspense level. Yeah.
Yes.
And when you have a filmmaker who's writing it, directing it, editing it, sometimes, and then doing the music, you talk about a guy who's really creating an atmosphere.
Oh, I love it. So coming up for me, guys, hold on, let me get to the right month here. So tomorrow night,
he's booked all the way to September. This guy, you got to watch. You got to really get in early.
Because I was already checking out what I'm going to ask you on next month. So tomorrow night you can catch me on Anachronic Comics channel, Joe's.
Ooh, nice.
On the Comic Crowd, where we're discussing our favorite TV or movie made into comic books. We're discussing those.
Ooh,
I may or may not have some things I think are gems that you guys may not, but
nice.
those are going to be on there. Also joining us will be Chuck Hensey. So. Nice. So join me, Chuck, and Joe tomorrow night. Hopefully we don't conflict, or else we'll have to catch each other's rewind. And then next week we have next week on Tuesday is actually the Chuck Hensey episode of the 1011. So tune in to see Chuck there. It'll be a great time. And then and then next week, the 1st, we're gonna have Bleecker back on, but this time on the 1011. So Bleecker Street Comics on
the hot seat. Yeah.
We already did the 1011. So Bleeker's with us next Thursday. And then the week after that, of course, is Steve Whiting. And then maybe we can pencil John here in for the 8th for in the hot seat to follow him.
Oh, now you're talking.
But
the 8th, I can't do the 8th. I know for sure. My school is doing its graduation
ceremony. Anyone watching the show? No. We'll get you on later in the month, then, John. No big deal, buddy. No big deal. We'll get you though.
Oh, what's up, Gore? Gore Vidal.
One of the best guys. I love Gore.
Yeah.
And his channel's so great. Nobody reads a book better to you than Gore.
No. Nope.
Right.
Yep.
What's his name? I mean, they do have that school does have quite the nerve, don't they, Candace? Don't they know Gary B, the casual comic guy's got a show that night?
Clearly, they're failing.
Right. Well, apparently they're doing it right.
I mean, somebody's graduating. It's not me.
Right? But guys, thank you so much. We had a great crowd tonight, John. We had a top crowd. So the chat was great. The involvement was awesome. And thank you all so much for coming out, not only to support John. You can find his links in the description below. So please, if you're not and you're catching it on Rewind, you're not familiar with him, please sub him up on Instagram and YouTube. Same goes for my co-host, Digger Jim. Links are in the description below. And guys, really, thank you all so much. Jim, thanks for coming on and being my guest, my co-host as always. John, it was a crazy week. A lot happened. I needed someone to come in last minute. You came in, guns blazing with some great books. Thank you for coming on, knocking it out of the park, and just being an awesome guest. I appreciate it, sir.
My pleasure, man. And I'm saying for me too, it's been an absolute crazy. I would even go bigger. I'll go a month, and I wanted to remind people Mission 22, the Till Valhalla project. Please support some veterans that are having hard times. You can do a lot more good than subbing my channel if you go and support the Gary Sinise Foundation or the Wounded Warrior Project and support our vets.
And while you're at it, I'll mention him again. Please go check out X11 Bravo on the Instagrams, please. He's always posting great stuff, always doing good work. Great stuff going on with X11 Bravo. But guys, until next time, keep it casual.